just not bring it up. Yeah, maybe I'm weak, but it's taking too long to get over you. I'm not ready to need you again, unless this time we're holding on. The truth is I don't know how to forget. So when I saw you coming, I knew I'd be swept right now, and I didn't care. Been hiding from the truth, but it got me nowhere. 'Cause I'm not ready to need you again, but I need you again.
Brothers, brother, brothers, brother, 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 brother.
I'm fighting for life, brother.
We've been hanging and banging, brother, 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 brothers.
Funny how something can hurt you so bad, but you fall right back. Happens just like that, and I'm not quite convinced that it won't end the same this time. Tell me, can people really get a fresh start? Should I be more careful with my I'm treading carefully.
Maggots.
Crazy how something can scar you so deep, but you fall right back. I'm not ready to need you again, unless this time we're holding on. The truth is I don't know how to forget. So when I saw you coming, I knew I'd be swept right back up, and I didn't care. Been hiding from the truth, but it got me nowhere. 'Cause I'm not ready to need you again, but I need you again.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Morgan, Quaz, howdy. Yeah, it is late, dude. Yeah, I've been up in the mountains the last couple days. So my brother, you know how I work for my brother, essentially. I'm basically just a laborer, but he knows me and he can trust me, and yeah, but that's all it is. And it's hard to find people nowadays, at least where we are. So I was helping him at their house in Morgan, which is, you guys wouldn't even know where that is. It's like far away. And then his wife told me that she needed help because she does property management. So we had to like redo, like not redo, but like re-seal and finish like this gigantic mansion that she manages, all of their granite countertops, and then all of their floors in like 2 days, and then clean everything. It was fucking nuts. Who's this bearded boy? Dude, I know, right? It comes in quick. If I don't mess with it, it starts growing fast. And then it gets to like maybe here, and then it just stops growing, it feels like. Like, I wonder if I have pictures of myself anywhere that I could access from when I had my like more insane beard. But who knows? I'm probably gonna grow it out at least until summertime, and then I'm probably just gonna cut everything. But yeah, so that's why I'm late. But I shaved mine for the trip. Dude, how was it? When'd you get back? And that's probably, see, that's the thing, is like, I don't know what I would do at this day and age. I feel like it's like half and half. Either women are like super into beards, or they're like, you know, kind of indifferent. I don't know many women that are like, that I've met that are like, oh no, like beards, I can't, you know? Last night, it was amazing. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Dude, that's sick. And maybe this is a conversation that we should have in private, or like at least over Discord or something. But like, how did you meet this girl again, and how did you find her? Because she lives in a different state. And like, there have been multiple people you've talked to me before this thing started like happening for real. In Jelly's chat. Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's actually sick. Dude, what are the odds? I never hear of that actually like happening. Someone meets someone, and then they like hit it off, and then move it to outside of Twitch chat, and then they actually like meet up, and it's not like a catfish situation where she's like ogre and he's like a serial killer, you know? So I would say so far you're kind of fucking killing it. Yes, of course, we're still on. Yeah, and that's the other thing, is I contemplated, because I got back like 45 minutes ago, and up where we were at, I didn't have service most of the time. It was really weird. It was like if you were on their main floor, you'd have like pretty good service, but then if you went into the basement or their upstairs, you had zero service. So yeah, I don't know. It was fucking weird. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do like a 24-hour stream. My New York trip was semi-catfish, lol, like 9 years ago. Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing, is like, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. And by semi-catfish, do you mean she was like sending you photos of her from like 10 years ago or something? Or like 50 pounds ago? Because like that's the thing, is like so much online is just like, if there was a time when you were good, then like, why wouldn't you hold on to that? So it's like profile pictures I see for people, I'm like, especially people that end up going like that live stream, like if their profile picture on Twitter will be like a picture from them like 10 years ago, and then you go to their stream and they're like, that's not the person I saw. So yeah. But yeah, I went to Wyoming. Oh, I'll go as long as I can stand. Yeah, and that's the thing, is you don't have to, like, everything I'm doing on Wednesday, other than, like, obviously I'm stoked to be playing with you and Beef, but I don't expect you guys to do what I'm doing. Like, if you guys want to keep going and keep playing, if you want to start right when launch happens, any of those things, those are optional. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, and then when you guys are ready, we'll group up and just fuck shit up. So, Merca, what's up, Justin? I mean, I've done it before, and with someone else it might be easier. Yeah, that's the thing, is that I haven't done a 24-hour stream in over a year, because the only time I would do them specifically was for either like season launches of D4 or Path of Exile 2, or like my birthday. And I don't know if my last birthday I did one, I can't remember. But yeah, I was like, fuck it. Not in that case, but it was, I said I don't like smokers, and she smoked 2 packs a day, didn't have almost any interest in actually talking to me, and was doing RP or talking to everyone else for the first 2 days. Oh, I think we kind of a little bit talked about that. So yeah, I remember that now. Now that you mentioned it, it was with Chucklefuck. Oh yeah. Well, sometimes, but like, yeah. But yeah, that was the thing, is like, the thing is though, is it'll be good but bad, because the season launches at like 10 or 11 a.m. my time. But so the good part of it is that I can just wake up and start streaming, and it won't be like I'm staying up for like 36 hours, because when the season launches at like midnight or whatever, then I stay up the whole, like I wake up, do my whole day, and then stream for 24 hours. So that's the good part. The bad part is that means that the next day I will be finishing my stream at 11 a.m., which means that entire day is fucked. And then probably the next day, you know, but we'll figure it out. You didn't because of the drama with your sister? Oh, yeah. Dude, there's been so much over the last, Jesus Christ. Yeah, the last year. Like, you would think, you know, with time heals all wounds. Since then, things have only gone worse with like my siblings. Like, I'm chill with everybody. I don't feel like I'm super tight with a lot of my sisters, except for maybe my youngest sister, but I'm super tight with my brother, but like, then, yeah, it's just a fucking mess with the rest of it. You and I gotta talk, methinks? Probably. Oh yeah, that's the other thing, is my brother wanted, he floated an idea to have me work for him on salary, which is not something I ever thought would happen. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes, or where that leads. Because I feel like that essentially means he just wants to be able to be like, hey, Like have like set hours and then also like just like show up and pick me up when you need shit. So, but if that happens, we'll probably have to have like a real set schedule. Okay, so since we only have like 30 hours till the new season or whatever it is, we're not gonna do anything crazy tonight. I think one of the things I wanna do is just try to fucking sanctify any random shit I can to see if I get anything crazy, since that's gonna be gone next season. So yeah, that's my plan, or my tentative plan. And then yeah, just run whatever. If people want to hop in, if people are around, sick. If not, we'll just do us and see what happens. Okay, one of these I had sanctified. Was it this one? Vulnerable damage. Oh yeah, because I ended up getting a GA on the intelligence. So this is probably better than what I have. I'm just gonna assume it is, even though I don't know for sure. Because whenever we do testing with this build, it's really hard to get like definitive answers.
That's finished.
Mainly because our build is more about like doing a lot of damage in a bunch of different places, but not like big hits. You're not doing like insane damage in these like couple of hits. You're just doing a shit ton of less damage, but consistently. Did I tell you I got to see a homeless guy pooping in the middle of the street and then got mad at the car behind us for watching it? Wait, the car behind you got mad at you for watching a homeless dude pooping in the street? That's hilarious. That's so California. So LA. Like, how dare you? It's like, dude, he decided to drop a deuce in the street. It wasn't me. Okay, let's go to... Oh, wait. The other thing I wanted to do maybe before we get started is if there's any more... like, do they release the patch notes before the season with this game? I can't remember. Season 12. Diablo 4. I feel like a lot of these games don't release them till the day they go live, but okay, the Diablo team has been monitoring as we introduce patches to keep the experience in Sanctuary smooth. We will update the below list and denote whether the fixes are intended for PC. Okay, let's just look over these real quick. No, the homeless guy got mad at the car behind us for watching him. Oh, that's hilarious. If like, wow, it is mostly at the, yeah, like at the update. So I think they just have like stuff that they've announced as far as like changes they made, because they do a public test realm for this game and for like Path of Exile and whatever. So it's like before the season comes out, like a month before or whatever, they'll allow some people to test out the changes to see if there's anything that's A, like super broken, like way too overpowered, or B, if like mechanics aren't working properly or any of that shit. So they did that. And so most of the notes might just be based around that, where it's like, here's what we heard from the PTR. So these are the changes that we're adjusting because of what you guys told us, but it's not going to be like the full detailed notes of everything that's changing in the new season. Okay, so kill streak multipliers are now highlighted in the UI. Kill streaks no longer reset when going between floors and dungeons. Bloodstain now grant better rewards, including guaranteed bloodied and ancestral items when defeating blood-soaked bosses. Okay. The following massacre affixes have been tuned. Attack speed per kill streak tier increased from 6% to 8%. Cooldown reduction from 3 to 6. Dude, here's what I will say, and I still feel this way, but it could change upon the season actually starting and us getting in there and seeing like how this stuff works out. But like, first glance and opinion after watching the video that we watched last week or whatever, the new season mechanic seems really stupid to me, but like, I get it because it's also a short season. So the season's only like a month and a half long, but like, I don't know how much I'm gonna be interacting with this kill streak mechanic in terms of like trying to maximize my build or whatever, but that could change. Like it could end up actually being sick. Apparently this is something that was in Diablo 3 before, and I don't know. I don't remember if I heard people say whether they liked it or not. So what's up, Dark? Dark? How you doing? Okay, so resource cost reduction per kill streak tier. Yeah, okay. All classes can now encounter a bloodied affix that increases their primary core stat by 3% per kill streak tier. This affix appears on bloodied items of at least 750 item power. Well, I'm assuming, so there can be bloodied items that aren't ancestral, is what it sounds like. Necromancer balance updates, fueled by death passive, duration increased from 6 to 8 seconds. Bloodbath legendary paragon node, previous deal 20% multiplicative increased overpower damage after overpowering, deal 50% increased physical damage for 5 seconds. Now, deal 20% increased overpower damage after overpowering, deal 50. Okay, so instead of it being tied to physical damage, it's just any damage, which I guess is good. The Incense of Vitality has been removed. Okay. Fix an issue where tributes could drop as bloody. Fix an issue where the new rank wasn't displayed after masterworking an item. Fix an issue where the butcher would stop spawning in a nightmare dungeon with the fresh meat affix if the player exited and returned via portal. Fix an issue where the distant and close effect from the word skin unique gloves could both be applied at the same time. Fix an issue where mythic unique items were not dropping with greater affixes. Okay. Well, that's not much. Kill streaks are great. Okay. On the seasonal realm, summon more powerful versions of Nightmare Dungeons, Lair bosses, and Infernal Hordes with bloodstained sigils. Dial up the heat even further, use blood-soaked sigils for an incredibly powerful test. Several new uniques that span many classes are here for the demon slaying needs. These all drop from the new Butcher Lair boss. Boss stagger mechanics have been upgraded. Bosses can be staggered twice as quickly than before, but now have a cooldown for 30 seconds, where it is 5 times harder to stagger them. Okay, so bosses can be staggered more easily, but there's a cooldown between when you stagger them the first time and when you can stagger them again, where it becomes almost impossible to stagger them. So I think that's good, because even for my build, and I have a shit ton of like crowd control, it takes forever to stagger bosses. So that 30-second cooldown, you know, I think will still be quicker than how it was before. New enemies layouts have been added to the tower, and bosses shouldn't hit much harder. The amount of enemies needed to complete a floor has been reduced. Okay. Interesting. yeah, so that, like I said, most of this stuff is based on the PTR, and since we didn't play the PTR, like, it doesn't, we don't really have context, but we probably won't give full patch notes till it actually comes out. And then all this stuff for the update, seems like all paladin stuff. Earn 20%. Okay. Yeah, so we'll just have to see how this all happens. As long as they don't like fuck with anything with the Sork, this build should work perfectly fine next season, because there's nothing from like the seasonal mechanic that is like helping me do what I'm doing. So 30 seconds is a long time. Wait, for what, Brosif? Oh, you're talking about the cooldown between staggers? Yeah, the 30 seconds does sound like a long time, but it was taking more than 30 seconds for me to re-stagger a boss anyway. But like, what you have to do is figure out the math of, and it obviously depends on the build, but like how long it took you or takes you now to stagger a boss after they've been staggered. And then how long half of that is plus 30 seconds. Because you're not gonna, I don't even know how much stagger you're gonna be building up in that 30 seconds, but then cutting the amount of time it takes to stagger them overall in half. Like if you were staggering bosses every 20 seconds now, then that's obviously gonna be worse, because even if it cuts it down to 10 seconds with that 30 seconds added on, it's still more than the 20 seconds. But I don't think I was ever staggering bosses that quickly. Like we could even test, but like for instance, let me think, who do I have any mats right now? Okay, let's run to Duriel real quick and we'll see. Because I did feel like, especially after not playing for a long time, like since season 7, now it felt like bosses, I don't know when they switched it, but like the stagger was like pretty absurd now compared to what I remember. I kill the bosses too quickly. You see, and that's the thing, is it's like not even really relevant for most people. And like, since I think even this new season, a lot of people are just gonna be playing Paladin again, it still will be irrelevant. But I think I kill the, right now, I think I kill the boss faster than I can stagger. And I don't even have like insane damage. Yeah. I know when we have like a full group, and I haven't checked this recently because like I've had some shit that's changed, but not a ton on my build. But there was a point where we weren't even like Duriel was going to phase 2 before we could A, stagger, or B, kill. So I know that there was a point when that was happening, and I was just like, dude, this is insane, because like the stagger bar just moves so slowly. Because my damage is probably increased, but not like my ability, my crowd control hasn't really changed.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay
calm.
calm.
What's
the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Mr. B.
Everybody, calm down. Go.
Welcome in, sir. How was your stream? Thank you for the raid. Welcome in, y'all. What were you? What have you been up to lately? What have you been gaming on? Okay. Yeah, this is all garbage. Okay. Yeah, so that wasn't a great example. I guess, yeah, there isn't even really a boss to check in on. Because, like Belial maybe, but even then I probably kill Belial too fast. But like that's the thing, is that maybe that's part of the problem. It's that they're dying before they can even get staggered ones. But like, if you're killing them as soon as they spawn, as a paladin, it's not gonna really make a difference. This change isn't gonna change anything. So for like me, it might change something. But like, I can't, at least maybe early in the season when I don't have good gear, or if I am playing, you know, like low level or whatever, it might make a difference. But there's never gonna be a time I stagger a boss a second time anyway, except for that specific situation. So I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see how it feels. They're adding new torments. Yeah, I heard with the expansion, correct? They're doing torments. And then this next season, they're gonna have the super nightmare dungeons, which that'll be interesting to see how that works and how it feels. Because there's gonna be 2 different tiers higher than whatever you're at. So the bloodstained sigils are like 1 tier higher, and then the blood-soaked sigils are technically, I think, 2 tiers higher. So that would be like simulating Torment 6 if you're in Torment 4. The handsome man Ransom, the beefiest beef on the mic. Welcome in, sir. Guys, also, if you don't know Beef, what's up? What up, yo? But he's one of my good friends. He streams. He's amazing. Great vibes. He raps. Killer bars. No joke. And I don't just say that. Trust me. And yeah, just a great time in there all the time. Mainly plays ARPGs, but he's kind of like, you know, variety-ish. I think he's been playing a lot of PoE 2 over the last while, which is awesome, because I wish I still had the patience for that game, but I lost it. Do you kiss on the cheek, Beef? Hanging out, jamming PoE like a degen? Hell yeah, dude. Oh, we got Asmodon too. So when is PoE 2's new season supposed to happen? Because I know PoE 1, they just had a new season, right? New league. Oh, you were playing PoE 1. Okay. Yeah, so it launched just a couple of days ago on the 6th. So, Path of Exile 2. Let's see this. The beginning of May? What? How much time is between their leagues? Is it like 6 months or something? I can't remember off the top of my head. But we're still, like, on Path of Exile 2, the last new league was Druid release, right? And also, when are they gonna... I wonder when they're gonna full release the game. Oh, okay. It said pushing the 1.0 release into 2027. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. I think everyone kind of knew, especially once they started to like get on top of making sure they were doing regular updates for Path of Exile 1. I think everyone kind of figured that it was going to be a minute till full release of Path of Exile 2. I think they just had too much on their plate when they released Path of Exile 2. Because I don't think they were anticipating how popular it was going to be. Released in 8 years? Well, I don't know. Whenever I hear someone say something like that, all I can think of is Tarkov. Yeah, because like, look at this. We're gonna barely stagger a world boss 1. I feel like that's, and I'm assuming the world boss already has like a higher stagger bar, but like he also has significantly more health. Yeah, I was being facetious, yeah. I assumed as much. Oh shit, I forgot about this. Give it a moment. So I finally finished that thing that we're supposed to finish. The seasonal thing.
Farewell.
So now I get an insane amount of sigils. Okay, we're full on sigils. Dude, that will be so funny if that is Talrash's ring. A ring that I was actually like searching for a while. God damn, dude. Okay, now we're full again. Okay, I need to go back to town to be able to pick up the rest of this shit. Drops more than I can carry. Yeah, because I had my, I think I had my entire sigil slot emptied as well. Got a bunch of legendary ones though. Hopefully one of them is useful. Yeah, I like with the prankster sigil existing. Also, has that been announced whether that's, fuck, I should have went through my gear too. Has that been announced whether that's coming back or not? Oh wait. Oh shit, they just disappeared. I forgot about how, wait. Forgot the trick behind that, because I think there is a trick to make sure they stay. Okay. Oh, there's a chance. It's either Blue Rose or it's Talrasha's, the 4GA unique I got. Okay, it isn't Blue Rose, so that means it's Talrasha's. But if it has a shit unique roll, which would not surprise me, it's perfect. That's actually nuts. So yeah, we might have to test that out again, because last time we tested just using a legendary ring, it was pretty close. But having this 4GA might be enough to make it better. And if we get an insane sanctification on it, all of a sudden, it's much better. Okay, and then everything else I think is gonna be probably garbage. This guy's got a little bit of the Post Malone vibrato. Okay. At least the gear doesn't randomly disappear. I don't understand why the sigils just disappear. Because odds are, the ones that disappeared, one of them would be the prankster one. Would be my first prankster one that I found. Neither of these are very useful, but we'll just do that because I guess there's a chance we get a upgraded affix or something. We don't need gold at all, so and there's only a couple things I'm really looking for right now. I guess if we're gonna mess around with just trying to sanctify whatever we can, that could like potentially be useful. Yeah, even these are a stretch. Okay. Well, that was a success. Oh, let's go through our sigils real quick and see what we got, because I was not paying attention. And we'll destroy whatever's a waste of time. Honestly, a lot of these ones. The legendary ones are cool, I guess, because each level you can get new affixes for that like level. So whatever the affix is on the base one, that just means the first nightmare dungeon you complete has that affix. And then when you get to the next tier, it unlocks new ones that can be good, but I don't think it can unlock, like, for instance, the trickster one, so I don't know. Okay, a couple of these are worth keeping. Keep a hidden armory. Then we might just keep, I don't know, with the legendary ones. We don't have time anyway, so it's like, unless we're just gonna run them all night. Because it's like running 3 nightmare dungeons where you get 3 times the rewards, but I think I'd rather run 3 separately and get the specific rewards I'm looking for. Oh, do you get the same amount from these ones as just a regular one? Okay, fuck it. We'll just put the rest of these in here for now, because and guess we'll keep these ones in here for now. But that's the thing, we could do this, because like I feel like, especially since we're so close to the end of the season, we're probably not gonna have, and I started my stream super late tonight, We're probably not gonna have anyone like dipping in to try to grind before the end of the season. So I might just run this shit on my own. Cause why not? We don't have anything better to do. And there's like, you know, there's chance we get some mythics. That could be something. And then a lot of these other ones are probably just gonna be a waste of time at this point. Ancestral legendaries might be good for if we want to try to sanctify a bunch of shit anyway. So let's run a couple Undercities. I forget what the unique ones are called off the top of my head. Descendants. Okay, we'll run those. And then someone said doing armor. Yeah, armor, because there's a helmet and a chest piece of things that could help us. So that's probably better to do armor. We'll see. I don't know how big a difference it even makes anyway, but might as well pop these anyways. But yeah, I mentioned this last stream that I was like so surprised how many people, especially content creators that I've heard, that are super anti sanctification. Because I've tried to even like listen to what they're saying and see like how, you know, try to put myself in their shoes to be like, okay, I get that. I didn't play for most of the season, so there, you know, there was a lot of shit behind it that I probably don't understand. But even then, I feel like I just haven't really got it. But like, let's say I sanctified 1,000 or whatever, 2,000 items this season, and not a single one of them ended up getting a good sanctification. Maybe I would be a little more like anti, but like even then, even if you get a bad one, that doesn't mean that the system itself sucks. It just means that you got unlucky. It's like kind of like not getting a perfect mythic unique in a season and being like, well, fuck mythic uniques, we should just take them out of the game. And that doesn't make sense to me as much. I fucked something up somewhere. I haven't been paying attention to my map, but I missed some shrine somewhere. You can craft your mythics. But what about like sanctification? Because you can just get those to drop. And like you can craft your mythics if you get the runes, if you get, you know, all this other shit too. Like it's not like if it was the mythic crafting system from before where it was just 4 resplendent sparks instead of needing runes to craft them, it would make more sense to me. But like I've hated that change ever since they made it. Just because it took away the like end game grind for me of just being like, well, I'm just gonna run bosses because any mythic I get is one step closer to a chance at another mythic that could like be good, you know? Could actually be an improvement. I hate when it does this. It's like bugged out, so it doesn't think that I've completed the dungeon. So I'm gonna tell you something, IDK, if this will make it better or worse for you. Oh, what the fuck? Give me 1 sec. But they are bringing the cube into D4, which IMO is better than Sanctification. I don't know. I need to go back and like rewatch the part of the video unless there's like more information about the recipes that are going to be available. But it didn't seem like, I don't know. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what with the cube, because that's what people have said, is they're like, thank God Sanctification is going to be gone, but it'll be back because they're adding a version of it to the Roderick cube during the expansion. So IDK, if it's really RNG dependent, some people want the God set, and if it's practically unobtainable, I could see why people would be upset. You have to get the God item to sanct it to fully upgraded piece. Yes, I get that, Brosif, but the thing is you don't. Because like one of the arguments I heard from people is like, you can just sanctify any random legendary, like just get thousands of legendaries and just sanctify them. And that random legendary, if you get the right sanctification on it, makes it better than a 4 GA legendary with the exact stats you're looking for. So like, I don't know if that's the case. I wouldn't really agree with that. Me personally, I would probably do what you're saying, trying to get like at least the stats that I want on the item first and then sanctify it. Because for me, I've only been playing for like a little over a month, and the amount of these sigils I have, like I can't run out of these. I think there's another resource you use to sanctify as well. But yeah, so for me, it's like, there isn't anything to lose to sanctify, but at the same time, I would hate to get like a decent sanctification that isn't amazing, but it's on a piece of gear that's ass, that could like give me a big boost if the piece of gear wasn't ass. And that's the thing, we don't know if they're bringing the version from D3 or if it's gonna be a whole new rework of the cube. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that, but like, yeah, I just haven't fully understood the whole, like I can get the frustrating part of it, but like that doesn't mean, you know, because like for instance, what percentage of players this season have been playing Paladin? Like 70%? So it's like if you're playing Paladin anyway, getting a God tier sanctification just means that maybe you can do a couple pit levels higher. At that point in your game, that's all you have to work for. You get what I mean? Is trying to push a couple pit tiers higher. Because you like, whenever I'm playing with a Paladin, that even like homies that started playing the game again at the same time as me are already doing 100 times the damage that I'm doing, even though I've probably spent more time playing the game and have better gear for my build. But it's just like the difference in how strong the Paladin is makes it kind of pointless. And yeah, I still just view the sanctification as mythics. I guess the difference with mythics is you don't brick it, but getting a mythic that you can't use, that is like, you know, for instance, like the Melted Heart of Selig or whatever. It's not bricked, but it might as well be, because all you're getting out of it is a shard, and that shard is not super valuable. You get what I mean? So it's like, what's the difference between bricking with sanctification or bricking or just getting a shit drop with a mythic for all intents and purposes? But like, I can understand, but like from what I was hearing from people were just like taking any legendary item and, you know, sanctifying it just to hope to get a mythic sanctification. And if they got that, they were like, okay, well that's still better, you know, because you get the Shaco sank and all of a sudden having some more critical strike chance or whatever else on that piece of gear that you just threw in there doesn't really matter when you're getting +4 to all skills and all the other benefits. And like the thing is I can get the argument for like why it was frustrating, but like everyone, a lot of the people that I've heard talking about it are like completely against it. Like it's not just like, yeah, it was frustrating, I didn't really enjoy the mechanic because I could just never get the perfect thing that I wanted or whatever. It was like, no, it fucking sucks, I'm pissed that they're bringing you back with the Roderick cube. And I was like, okay. Because to me, it just adds something else like an endgame chase at the very least, because that gear you didn't have access to before anyway. So the sanctification, having it doesn't change anything except for giving you a chance to have better gear, in my opinion. But like I said, I only played for like a month, so I could be completely off base with my take on it. I just haven't understood the visceral like negative reaction whenever I bring it up in other streamers chats or just in general to other people that were playing the whole season, because I feel like it's been like majority of people that I've really like talked to about it that are like, yeah, that fuck that, I'm glad it's gonna be gone. I'm not sure. I may have missed something, but I didn't play D3, so I have no idea how that system's gonna work and how much of the D3 version they're gonna keep in the game, or if they're gonna totally like revamp it to the D4 game. Oh, no luck. Okay, we'll see. Because last time it was hard to test this since we had a full squad. So we'll see what the odds are like as a solo. And at least it counted me finishing the dungeon. Yes and no, but we don't know how they will implement the cube yet. So sanctification, was that concept of sanctification a thing in Diablo 3 as well? No, okay. So what did you do in the cube in Diablo 3? Or maybe I should just watch like a video on it, because that's probably too much to just like quickly explain. Because that's probably at least a good baseline to what to expect for this one. Yeah, watch a vid on it. I'll understand more than me trying to explain it. Yeah. Yeah, but like, yeah, I just need to watch more Diablo 3 content in general, because like so much of it is similar to what they have now implemented into D4. So it'd be interesting to see the mechanics, how they worked in that game versus how they've implemented them in D4. We downloading D3, boys? I wonder if I still have it downloaded. I think it's on my other Blizzard account, because I made 2 at one point to try to do some shit with Diablo 2 Resurrected when I was to, what do they call that again? Some people like consider it like cheating, where you like bring in a different account so you can have more players when you're playing seasonal without having to worry about like losing loot. It's called like multi-window or something. It's got like a weird term, but either way, yeah. So that other account is what I bought D3 on. Multi-boxing, that's what it is. Never heard of someone doing that in Diablo? Yeah. Well, especially because I was doing my, I was trying to do my Grail on Diablo as well. So it's like, if that one item does drop, if I'm just in a group with randoms, I couldn't risk it. But I only had it set up so I could multi-box. So it'd be like, I'd have like 3 or 4 people from my stream that I could trust. And then me, and then a multi-box, just one though. A lot of people who do it do like 5 of them, or like the full party. But I don't know, like to do that would require so much coordination, because you still have to like get your character to wherever the boss fight is, otherwise it doesn't count as an extra player. So it's like, even with me, I would have to take 10 seconds to go over to my other screen and bring my character to the boss fight. But yeah, in this game, I don't think it would really make that big of a difference. But I think I used that other account for a while when I was like playing crazy, and at one point I was like close to having max gold, so I was storing gold on it for a second. I forgot I'm supposed to just leave the dungeon. Well, fuck. We might try it with, just because these are easy to get the other stats for. So even though initially it doesn't have great stats, it might be worth it. Doing it for loot and not playing them at the same time. Yeah, that was for me. It was only because, you know, there is no like player-based loot drops in Diablo 2, and so that was my biggest thing. Because then you also have people that have like macros and other shit. If you just like join an online lobby or create a online lobby and let people join, like there were people that are able to pick up things with like unhuman speed, and that like avoid fighting the boss just so, like, you know what I mean? Like they're just like lurking so that they're not like focused on something else, so they can just pick up the drops as soon as they drop. Which part of that like was fun, but like I'm glad to not have to deal with that anymore. Yeah, multi-boxing in D3 was a thing also. Oh yeah, the real money auction house, that makes sense when they had that going. Because I've heard people were making like thousands. How long did that exist for in D3? Because it got like negative backlash pretty quickly after they implemented it, didn't it? So I always thought it just like was like a thing they dropped in for like a season or a half a season or something. Yeah, they took it out pretty quick. Yeah. Which, like, I don't know. It's hard for me to have an opinion on it because I didn't play the game and I wasn't, like, involved with it back then. So, like, but, like, the general concept of it, I'm not necessarily against. Like, unless these games, like, took it super serious to prevent RMT from happening. But as long as like RMT is still just like super easy and like super common in the community, like I don't get why not allow people to RMT in a way that they can actually have more control over. But that's probably one of those like super unpopular opinions. I just have seen how much RMTing happens in this and Path of Exile 2, and was like, that was one of the reasons I just got sick of Path of Exile 2, because I was playing more than anybody else I knew, especially that first season, and yet people would just show up in my stream and have like an impossible amount of loot and gear. And I was like, oh yeah, how'd you get that? And then there was like people I even knew, just like, they just didn't even really hide it. Like they didn't say it on stream, but they would just like message me, or when we'd be talking on Discord, and they'd be like, yeah, so I do this because I just don't have the time. I was like, I don't really care. Like, I'm not gonna report you, but it sucks. Oh, I don't even need to fight this. I just got distracted. Oh, not that way. People were making tens of thousands and lasted about 7 months. That's actually quite a while. How long were the seasons back in Diablo 3? Like the same length as these? Yeah, so no luck so far. I think that was the 4th or 5th one. Maybe the 3rd one. Maybe that was only 3. No, that was 4 because we were at 16. So this is 5. So the Echoing Fury Mace sold for 14K to 15K real money. That's actually nuts. The thing that's funny about this game is like, even if they had it implemented in this game, there's nothing that would be worth anything. Like, I guess like a 4GA for whatever unique is like the meta build unique, like for instance for Sorks, especially when Lightning Spear was like meta for those seasons, was like a Fractured Winter Glass, like a 4GA Fractured Winter Glass. But like, since you can't trade mythics or anything, and you can't trade items that actually have, dude, where is this? Okay, there we go. I don't know why on this one I'm like everything's so spread out. I'm just already low on time. Seasons lasted between 3 and 4 months on average. Yeah, I guess not having like seasons kind of makes sense because like initially at least, because that was before like live service was like a thing in for every single multiplayer game. Honestly, I should just be using Raiment to do these because I can just teleport so quickly when I have Raiment. But yeah, seasons didn't come with launch. Became a thing in like 2014. Okay. Where'd those come from? Let's see, is it fifth time's charm? No. I guess that is a good thing about doing these with a full team though, is that it's just way higher odds that somebody gets a mythic. Because if you don't hit a mythic, the rest of the rewards are kind of ass. It's kind of a waste of time. It's also when leaderboards became a thing. Okay. I guess that makes sense, because if you didn't have... Well, I guess back with Diablo 2, they had ladders, which was kind of like seasons, but, you know, they didn't really add content to Diablo 2 after Lord of Destruction came out. So it was more just like a ceremonial season for like the competitive side. So that is, I guess. But like D3 was just so different than D2 that I don't even know if when the game released, it would have, like, having ladders would have mattered. But until like I started playing this game, I didn't even realize that there was such a big community of like hardcore Diablo 3 players. And that like the majority of the D4 guys came from D3. Which like makes sense logically, but like I just never watched or heard anything about D3 for years. Because it was kind of like a niche community inside of a niche community. Yeah, the storyline was too different for people to call it. Well, for me personally, I didn't really, because I've never really cared a ton about the storyline. Like in Diablo games, like I like the lore aspect of it, but like I don't, you know. I think for me it was more so just the gameplay and the look of it didn't feel anything like a Diablo game. Just like the way skill trees were even set up and everything. Dude, how do I keep getting so far behind the fucking ball, dude? Fucked. Yeah, we failed this one. I don't know. I'm gonna try putting on raiment just to see if, because like being able to teleport quicker when you're doing it solo, it just goes so much slower. Where's my, there it is. Turn your, I could do that. Uncle Lucas, what is up? How you been, brother? Pleasure. Yeah, I pre-ordered it in 2009, got the big package, came with posters, cups, and a shirt. Dude, that was back in the day. When they did that shit was great. Yeah, I could do that too. That should help. But I'm gonna try Raymond first because, like, the thing is honestly, I don't need extra damage right now. Fuck, I forgot the ones I need. It's... That's one of them. Is it that? Oh no, it's gotta be this. Yeah, that's... There we go. Waited 3 years for the damn game to release? I think most people were waiting a lot longer than that. Just in terms of, like, they had heard, you know, it was kind of like Diablo 4 where they announced it and then, like, no real updates for like 8 years. Or they like announced that they were working on it. And with Diablo 2, the gap between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 was it even longer? Was it like 15 years? From pre-order to release. Oh, just from pre-order is actually nuts. I thought you were just talking about in general. I'm just gonna try to, at least if they're in my path, kill the guys that give me more time just to be safe as well. Because they added that like new mechanic where if you get hit by like enemies at certain beacons, they take away time. So I think that's what's getting me fucked up. And I'm just not like staying on top of time. I get distracted doing some side activity I don't have to be doing. God damn it. Yeah, having a 3-year like window between pre-order and release. I don't know if I've ever heard of that before. It'll be interesting to see how like the gaming industry develops from here, because I feel like there's been a lot of duds over the last couple of years, like significant duds that had a lot of money that went into them, which I think overall could be good for the industry, but I'm kind of like cautiously optimistic about it. Because like if they learn to just stop making games nobody wants, then maybe that's good, but like could just mean that all we end up getting for a long time is like indie games, which I'm not a big indie game enjoyer. MMOs down bad? Dude, seriously. MMOs are down horrendously. Like, it's just still so insane that the only like relevant MMO in North America, or like maybe in Western countries in general, is still WoW. And like other than that, everything else doesn't matter. Because as far as like, there's like a bunch of, or several really successful MMOs, but their primary audience is like Eastern countries, because they have a bunch of pay to win mechanics, which is like socially acceptable or like socially promoted even. Dude, clip this. And he's back.
My God! Okay, it's happening.
Thank you so much for the
Everybody stay
raid,
calm.
brother.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Holy shit, welcome in, boys. How's everyone doing?
Down! No, no.
Oh, sorry. I cursed right off the rip. My bad. My bad. Right off the rip. Thank you for the shout out, Dark. Deadpool, thank you for the follow. And Acid, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Yeah, so I didn't really know what to do tonight, because obviously we have like 30 hours till the new season. So I was like, screw it. I have some of these tributes since I've been back in the game for like a little over a month. I don't have a ton, but I was like, screw it. I'll just run these, see if we can get some mythic drops, and then mess around with sanctification before the end of the season. Oh, this is actually a good question, because we were talking about this earlier. So apparently everyone hates sanctification. And Cliptus, I know if you need to go, you're usually late. Like, you're up late, you got shit to do. I completely understand. But I would like people from Cliptus's chat what your thoughts on sanctification is, because I didn't realize it was such like a controversial thing until the last like week or so. How's it been? It's been great, brother. How was your stream? What were you guys just I'm assuming doing build like theory crafting for next season, or just like guides for next season, because it doesn't seem like a lot of core stuff is changing next season. So I don't hate it. See, and my opinion was like, and mind you, I started the season a month ago. So I started the season late. I didn't play the game since season 7 until I started playing again a month ago. So that's context. But to me, it just seemed great. Like, why not have another chase in the end game, even if the RNG is super low and whatever, I don't really care because like that's how ARPGs typically are anyway, and everything else is so easily, or like for the most part, is easily obtainable in this game. So having like something to keep grinding towards at the end of the season to try to get that perfect sanctification, I just thought was like, oh, that's just something to keep people busy at the very least. And like, it doesn't make any builds worse than they were. It just means your build isn't going to be the best build in your class out of everyone who's playing the game, unless you have those like crazy sanctifications. But you could say the same thing about having a 4GA mythic. So I didn't see how it was like a negative, but apparently a ton of people like are very anti sanctification, and that didn't make sense to me. A lot of people didn't get the sanks they wanted. Or wait, a lot of people will say they hate it, but it kept people playing longer. That's how I feel too. Sanct is nice, but it's just too much work. Better balanced with what you get and how much effort goes. Could be really good. Yeah, I guess one of the primary, like the most common thing I heard is that like, I like the concept in general, but it needs to be changed a lot for it to be good. But like one of the things I heard from people that they didn't like why they hated it was because one of the big D4 streamers, and I won't mention them, but they were like, he just got dropped all this like perfect gear and could just sanctify until he had the like most perfect items ever, and it was just like unfair or whatever. And that part I was like, yeah, but like if there's trading in the game, that's just gonna happen anyway. Like sanctification doesn't change that. It just happens in different ways if there isn't sanctification. But I guess sanctification just made it like more obvious and blatant is maybe the argument they had. I'm just gonna skip that one.
I love when I raid myself.
A lot of people didn't get the things they wanted, which can be, yeah. Well, and I felt the same way. I was chasing a perfect fractured winter glass for 4 seasons. And I didn't ever get that. And it wasn't like I needed it for my build to work, but like if I wanted to push with my Frozen Orb Sword, wanted to push 1 or 2 pit levels higher, that was like the only thing I had really left to see. And yeah, so that's like, but like, that wasn't the reason I, you know, that didn't mean I hated the game because I couldn't get a perfect Fractured Winter Glass. I was just like, I just have shit RNG, that's the way she goes. I like the fact that you can't max out no matter what. It should be like Well of Souls in PoE 2 where you get 3 options to choose from. Yeah, but then you could argue, because like I think the thing that most people compare it to from PoE 2 is just like chaosing, or not chaos. Why can't I think of the term right now? Corrupting your gear. So, but like the difference is in PoE 2 you can corrupt your gear and then you can sell it if you get good corruptions. Like I think that the concept behind the way corrupting works in PoE 2 actually would be less acceptable to like the audience, but yet people are fine with it in PoE 2 and they didn't like sanctification in this. Oh, I guess I already hit it. I have over 350 mythic tributes to use. Doubt I'll use them all. That's what these ones are, right? The what are these called? Ascendant? Sanctification as a seasonal mechanic was awesome. A lot of people didn't read the warnings and forgot to add sockets or aspects. I did that like once or twice. Now I could see being frazzled if that happened with like an insane god tier item. Like with me, it was just like a 2 GA focus that and then once I made that mistake, I haven't made it since, so. But yeah, it could just be more connected to like bitterness than anything else. I was just really surprised, because to me, my first like experience and opinion with it was that it was awesome. I was just like, now we have something because once they took away, this was one of the things that started making me get bored with D4 back then, was once they took away how you could craft your mythic uniques by just using 4 resplendent shards, and you could craft whichever mythic you wanted, and then they added the runes in. I didn't want to grind for runes, but I didn't mind just like doing boss runs, because I never had a problem back then getting people to join boss runs because they had a chance at a mythic, and you knew at the very minimum that was 1/4 of the way to the next chance at getting a better version of your mythic that you want. And with the runes, it just added a step that became tedious and not like, who wants to do rune runs? You know what I mean? Like, it just isn't the same as like, who wants to do boss runs? You know, so it's like, once they changed that, I lost that end game something to chase after. Like, I could just do boss runs for the final 3 weeks of a season until I kept getting mythics and getting a chance to re-roll another mythic to see if it was better than the one I had. So when they added that system in, I wasn't a huge fan of it, and with Sanctification, it brought that concept back. Like, I can keep grinding because no matter what I'm doing, there could be an item that drops that could end up being a game changer for my build if I get a good Sanctification on it. But I probably like wasn't using the system as much as I should have too, like, because someone did make a decent point where they were like, yeah, just like take any legendary that you find and sanctify it, even if it doesn't have the stats you want, because if you get one of those like mythic S tier sanctifications, it's going to be better than a 4GA item that does have the stats you want on it. I was like, I never thought of it that way, but and obviously it depends on the build you're using and stuff, like if you need cooldown reduction. I think people are just mad that one person is getting handed mass amounts of gear that had potential to be god tier, and most people couldn't find anything. Yeah, but like, for instance, here's my comparison, but let me read, that's what I said. I was using 700 or 750 boots with no stats I needed. Ah, okay, I see. But Dark, what I mean though is like, what's the difference between someone getting dropped a bunch of 4GA unique items or 4GA boots, like legendary, ancestral legendaries or whatever, and the difference between someone getting dropped 1,000 boss mats back when the way boss mats worked, you know, you could just run a boss and everybody got loot from it. So they just were getting dropped, or like all the gold that they could possibly need, and so that they could buy everything on the trade market exactly what they want. To me, there is no difference. So either you try to fix that, the core, which is people being upset that people are getting dropped a bunch of gear and a bunch of free whatever, or I don't think there's really an argument to be had there. And since I don't really have a problem with it, because this isn't a competitive game to me, like, I'm competing against myself, and I also am not doing like speed running, or, you know, I'm not like, my brand isn't pushing the like #1 Sork on the pits leaderboard or whatever. So like, I get if that was your thing, then it would be more frustrating if you knew that you didn't have the same opportunities as other people. But I feel like 90% of the community isn't doing that, isn't pushing to be like the #1, and they're like, PvP isn't really a thing in the game, so. Because there's always going to be people that have more time than you do, or at least than I do. So like, trying to compare to those people has always just been like a I can't think of the expression off the top of my head, but just like pointless. It's just been a waste of time because I'm like, if I had nothing else going on and I was just playing a game all day, every day that I was awake, then I would have different expectations, you know? I don't see a difference. I almost hate trading because that is a route to bypass RNG. I like RNG. See, yeah, I don't mind trading. Like, honestly, I think trading is good to have in the game. Like, I remember at one point, like, for a while, wasn't there, like, way more restrictive trading in D4 for a while? And then they kind of opened it up. But, like, there was, like, a point in time where people were talking about, like, you know, it was a conversation whether D4 should be open trading or, like, heavily restricted trading or no trading at all. And I think trading in general helps keep the game alive, like keeps way more people interested and gives other people things to grind, because then after they have got everything they need for their build, they can keep grinding for gear to try to make more money on the trade market. But yeah, it's like if you have trading in a game, even trading that's as restrictive as this in comparison to Path of Exile 2, which I feel like has way more open trading, you're gonna have RMT. And as long as RMT is a thing in a game, all of these other things that people worry about are irrelevant to me, because I'm like, and like, it doesn't seem like any of these companies do much to prevent RMT. But like, when I was playing Path of Exile 2, the amount of people in that game that were RMTing, it was probably like 30% of the people that were like coming into my stream. So that's like a very small sample size. And so I can't imagine how bad it is in like the grand scheme of things. And then in this game, I remember there was a guy, or there was multiple people that like, I would be in a party with them and they would like just go and buy stuff from like Chinese bot accounts, you know? They would just like have the guy join our party while we're playing on stream and just like drop him like infinite boss mats or drop him whatever. And I was just like, what the hell is going, like I knew what was going on, but you know, what can you do about it? If the company doesn't care, why should I? As long as they aren't RMTing, I'm fine with it. And are more fast-witted, so they outthink you and get more out of anything. Yeah, especially if you're using those methods. Garden, thank you so much for the follow, by the way. I appreciate it. Did I miss any other follows? Amethyst Neon, I think I missed your follow. If you're still in here, I'm sorry. I you know, especially when we're talking about things that I like these are like healthy conversations to have within a community, I feel like, because most people don't want to talk about stuff that is critical one way or the other, or like, you know, you have those people that like just want to hate on everything that a game is doing, even though they're playing it all the time still. Or their like career got built off of playing it. You get what I mean? We know of people, we've heard of them, but yeah, as long as it's like respectful, I think these kinds of conversations are great. So I don't care about RMTing in these games. See, Highly, that's a pretty hot take, but I kind of agree. Not that I would ever do it or participate, but like, I just, it doesn't affect me personally. I think it's horrible for the economy. Like D4's economy, that was always something that I noticed, is like, it gets so inflated so quickly because of the botting and RMTing. So much money is in the trade market that the value of items gets astronomically high really quickly. I think having runes actually kind of made it worse in a way, because it was kind of like a new way of like being able to trade mythics in a concept. But yeah, that was the only way that it affected me, is that it just made it so if you're playing legit, then it's harder to buy stuff on the market. But other than that, if you're playing like solo self-found or just like you prefer not using trade anyway, then who cares? Like I said, it's not a competitive game. I'd much rather have RMTing in a game like this than people who are like using wall hacks and aimbot in a first-person shooter. Because that's like just the nature of those games is competitive. You're trying to win. And when you lose to someone who has a huge advantage, it sucks. But in this, I'm not competing, you know? So, no worries, LOL. Thank you, brother. And if you don't want surprises in game, I will play chess and Go. Or other full information. Yeah. Yeah, see, and I've never been a turn-based person either. There is a leaderboard. But that's the thing, is there is a leaderboard. But, and like, it would be interesting to hear someone's opinion who's on the leaderboard. You get what I mean? Who's like a top 5 player, because they would probably, like, I would respect their view on it and would like to hear their insight, because to them, like I said, if you're making your brand, for instance, if you're a content creator or a streamer or whatever, and you're known as like I'm always like top 3 or top 5 for Sorks or Necro or Druid or whatever, and that's your brand, you put that in your Twitch bio. That's like how you're getting people to come into your stream, is to teach them new ways, how you're pushing, how you're getting the good gear and all this shit. But that's got to be like 5% of the D4 player base that are those people, because first of all, there's not that many spots on the leaderboard that anyone gives a shit about. Like if you're top 40 on the leaderboard, is that like a selling point to bring people into your stream or to watch your videos? Because to me, if I see top 40, that doesn't affect whether I'm going to watch them or not. Now, if they're entertaining and they're making good content, top 40 is just an added bonus. But if that's your only selling point is top 40, I don't really give a shit. So that's my view on like the whole leaderboard situation, is like, if you're not one of those top guys, then how does it affect you, you know? There's a leaderboard, but it's not a skill-based game. That is also true. I gotta get some sleep. Cliptus, thank you so much. And guys, anyone in my stream who isn't following Cliptus yet, hopefully you guys all are, because this is like the 4th or 5th time he's raided me with these insane raids. Go follow him. Amazing dude. Cliptus, thank you again. Always a pleasure, brother. Can't wait for the new season. Can't see what kind of shenanigans you get up to, but I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, I only have a couple of these left, but I'm already kind of... I might need to take a break and go do something else for a second, because I'm not good at just like doing only one thing for way too like extended periods of time. I guess it's kind of stupid, because when I was doing my Grail on D2R, you're literally just doing the exact same thing over and over again. When I was using my Porker Barb, but that had like a clear end goal. No problem. Good night, everyone. Have a good one. Clip this. D4 still has 1 million+ player base, so if leaderboard is 1,000, even number 1K is 0.01%. That's, I actually never thought about it like that. Or 0.1%, yeah. But yeah, like that's the thing. So it's like, I get, I guess the concept of if you're gonna have a leaderboard, then it is inherently designed to be somewhat competitive. So I can agree with that point 100%. Because even if most people aren't competing, it's still, you know, it is a thing, and there are people that make their entire brand pushing leaderboards and being the top whatever. So if you're doing that, then yeah, it really sucks to have people that are RMTing. I just haven't ever seen with any of these games a concerted effort for them to really try to stop RMTing. And like after I saw how little like effort the people that I saw RMTing were putting in to RMT, like, you know, for a long time people were saying, hey, don't ever do trades unless you have something to trade back, and like, because you'll get flagged and you'll whatever. I don't know. I rarely do it even to this day, and I still haven't ever once even got like a temporary ban on this game, so. And then once the market's inflated, it's hard to be like, okay, if someone's constantly making these 500 billion gold trades all the time, that could like flag their account. But it's like, if the market is that inflated and you're selling stuff, it's not unreasonable to think that, you know, like and I don't even know the solution to, oh, I guess I don't need to still be doing this. Sometimes I just get distracted. But yeah, I would never compete, can't due to IRL, age, etc. But time to time, I might go to activity to test how high I can get to the leaderboards this time. Oh, I'm only bottom 7% now. Last month it was 5%. Yeah, no, and I'm the same way. Like, what is interesting to me, and this season, because I started so late, it's kind of, it was impossible for me to really do it. But what I was trying to do at one point is not push the Sork overall leaderboards, but push like off meta. So like make it onto the Sork leaderboard. I think at one point I was at like 120th or something. And this was before they had official leaderboards, because I was doing, because all the top ones were using pure lightning spear back in season 5 or 6 or whatever. And I was doing lightning spear with frozen orb. So even though I was still like abusing the meta to a certain extent, I was integrating frozen orb because I've always loved frozen orb as a skill. Oh, we actually got a mythic this time. What is it? Ooh, that could be something. Could be something. So it's like, and it wasn't like I was using it for anything, because who cares if I'm still using the skill, but it was for me personally. Like, I wanted to be number one, not using the exact same build that everybody else is using, or having a variation of a Sork build and be like the top, you know, still be on the leaderboards for that. Because I think there was like 2 people ahead of me that weren't using the like build, the meta lightning spear build. So I got close. I don't think the game needs trading personally. Yeah, see, and I think that trading is, and so like that's where these whole arguments come to a head. If you're gonna have trading, you're gonna have RMT. I don't think I've ever seen an example of a game that has found a good solution to it, and the only solution would be to not have, like, I think for Path of Exile, they made it a little bit harder initially to RMT, but then they like made currency way easier to find, because you can't trade gold in Path of Exile. So it was like, it turned into these rare materials, crafting materials, that became the currency, since you can trade those. So for a while, I think RMT was down a lot in that game, but then they like just changed the rates of those items dropping. And then once people figure it out, like, it's harder to farm, to bot farm for those types of materials. So it at least like reduced it, but like in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it really made that big a difference. So yeah, it's just like putting band-aids on a problem. But if you're gonna have trading in any game, RMT is gonna be a never-ending fight, just like fighting aimbotters and wall hackers in every competitive shooter is a never-ending fight. Dude, how is it that I got... The thing is I got a not so great sanctification on this, so it still has a chance to be better. But, yeah. But I also don't think any ARPG will survive without trading. Like, I think it'll just become boring really quickly. And I think it's best for the community and for long-term success of a game to have trading in it. So that's why I have kind of a more lax opinion on RMTing, not in terms of like allowing it, but in terms of like, there's other things that I would worry about more, you know? PoE has that no market mode as well. RuneScape has Iron Man. Oh yeah, you're just talking about like having a solo self-found mode. Yeah. See, and that's the thing is hopefully they add something like that to D4. I think I remember hearing someone talk about it. So I think that's a great solution for people who are worried about that, is that, yeah, you just have solo self-found mode. And I can't imagine it's like much more difficult to implement, because they already have like, because like it's basically the same concept as having like a hardcore mode, but you just turn off the switch that allows trading. So I feel like Diablo doesn't take a lot to get geared. I've never felt a need to trade anyone. I like being able to earn everything. I don't think it takes a lot either, but I just think for the like broader community, you'll lose a shit ton of like casual players if they don't think that there's a chance. And here's the other ironic thing. If they actually crack down on RMT, you would lose a pretty huge portion of casual players as well, I feel like. So it's a double-edged sword, but I think you'll lose a lot more if you just remove trading altogether. Because some people just have shit RNG. Like, I can farm gold non-stop, especially if I don't mind that like tedious gameplay, and then trade for something. I just don't enjoy that tedious gameplay, but like that would be a better use of my time, because I know my RNG is usually shit. But some people have amazing RNG, so. Hell yeah, Garden. Diablo franchise would never gotten to where it is now without trading. Yeah, I agree 100%. Question is, what brings to the game? More players, even. Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is like, that's the reason why these companies don't crack down on it, because like when PoE becomes a free-to-play game, PoE 2 at least, it's a little bit different, but for D4, they have no incentive, because if they ban someone's account for RMTing, that means they just have to buy another account. And all these bot accounts, like BOT, are bot accounts. BOUGHT. So, like, every time they get banned, there's like, you know, these companies probably have hundreds of accounts and probably lose hundreds of them every week, and then they have to buy 100 more. So, they don't really have an incentive to really like try to make it disappear, because it just means they're making more money as a company. That is a great point. Doesn't affect my gaming at all, so it doesn't harm. Yeah, that's the way I feel too. From what Blizz has said, it probably won't be a solo self-found. It seems like they still want group play, but just no trading. Well, I think in solo self-found, at least on PoE 2, I can't remember. I don't know if I ever did it, to be honest. But I think you can still play with people, you just can't. I think it's that same concept. But I could be wrong. Because the whole concept of solo self-found, it just means that you're the only person. You have to find all the gear yourself. It doesn't mean you have to play solo at all times. But there, I guess when you're doing solo self-found, there's no real incentive, especially in a game like that doesn't have personalized drops. Playing with a person would just mean the game is going to be more difficult, and you have no benefit from it. Except for maybe if you're like chasing experience, but I don't know. I can't remember. I have to look at PoE 2 again. I'd argue most casual players don't touch trading. Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Like if I had a bigger community to see like how many people actually interact with trading every season, that would actually be really interesting. Because that was one of the things I despise about PoE 2 is it's so reliant on trading because the drops are so randomized and you know, they don't have class specific drops and they don't have player specific drops. So if you're playing in a group, a drop, you know, you can have the thing turned on where there's like share loot or no, don't share loot or whatever. So that kind of helps, but it's not class specific. So like there were times you just had to trade if you wanted your build to get better, or just like play the same area over and over and over again. And I'm the type who likes to just get to the end game. Like I prefer that personally. I know some people like the grind through playing the campaign every single time you need to make a new character and stuff. I just didn't like that. But yeah. So in that game, I spent so much time on the trade market that I was working the trade market more than I was playing the game. And then if I ever complained about not finding enough currency, just playing the game naturally, people would be like, well, that's why you need to work the trade market. That's why you need to do, you know, if you just farm this, you can sell it on the trade market and have all the currency you need. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to do that. I just want to play the game and get the gear that I am looking for at some point, or get enough currency to get that gear just playing normally, because that seems reasonable. But yeah, that game is like so heavy focused on the trade market. I find it very odd that casual players even care about what some could buy their way to the top list if they themselves are not going there anyways. Yeah, I get that. Go online. We honestly don't know what they think. The majority of people we hear from are the minority, not casuals. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Like, it's hard where you draw the line between a casual player and a non-casual player. Like, if you play this game for, let's say, 12 hours a week because you only have Fridays and Saturdays to play the game, but because of that, it's the only game you play and you only watch streams that stream Diablo and you only watch YouTube videos, like gaming YouTube videos about Diablo, does that make you a casual player? Even though you're only playing 12 hours or 8 hours or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot that can go into this conversation about, you know, because I've had people in my stream that are like that. This is the only game and the only streams they watch, but they play way less than I would consider, you know, like I would consider that like super casual. But they know a lot about the game. They know the intricacies, like the drama going on, all the patch notes and all that shit, because it's the only game they play. Wait, is this ready? I think so. That has a chance. Depending on what the legendary power is, and if it, I swear to God, if it's the reduce your reinforcement cooldown time, which is gotta be the worst legendary aspect in the game. I don't know where that came from and why they added it. That one's also not great though. Lucky hit chances increase by 28% when you have a barrier. To be honest though, the like 18 item quality, I don't know. Because I do use lucky hit chance for something. I think for a couple of things with this build. So there's a chance that it could be better, but it's not like, it's not obviously better, so that makes it, I'm not even gonna worry about it right now.
Afford more than horseshoes and nails. What do you need?
Unlikely. Go look at the biggest D4 streamers. They aren't pulling millions of views. Casuals aren't even going to YouTube. So you think there's like, because would we assume that casual players is the majority of the player base, at least at like season launch or whatever? Because like, I think that's how most people, like, for instance, if you play Warzone and you're not, you know, one of the guys playing in the tournaments, you're basically considered a casual because you're not playing competitively. So it's like, that's like the difference. It doesn't have anything to do with how much time you put in the game. It's like, are you competing? Are you like one of the guys? So like the casual player base is like 90% of Warzone, or at least 80%. Because even if you consider like the people that are really good and just don't care to play competitively or whatever, but in a game like this, what I like, if we're drawing lines, then you think people just hop on the game and just play then without looking up guides? Because like, even when I was playing games like this casually, I would always look up guides to watch YouTube videos to see like what I was doing, how to do things more efficiently. Even in a game like, for instance, I just found my Nintendo DS recently, so that's why this even came up. But like in Pokemon, as someone who didn't play it hard, like I played the shit out of that game growing up. Right now I'm playing Emerald, by the way. But I didn't ever, like, first of all, that information wasn't easily accessible, and I just played the game. I didn't really, like, I didn't even understand the difference between, like, regular attacks and special attacks. So I didn't, like, the physical attacks and special attacks. So I would just see, like, the number is higher and not realize that, like, my Pokemon, like, it specializes in special attacks. So having a really strong physical attack does nothing for it. That's kind of stuff. But now that I started playing again, I'm like looking up everything. What's the most efficient way to get levels? Where to find this shit? And I would consider myself a casual Pokemon player still. I guess I'm not a casual video gamer in general, so. Casual equals not pushing the limits. Look at Riker, one of the top D4 YouTubers right now. He's barely pulling 100K views, and D4 player base is at almost 3 million. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to like translate viewership because like active players for D4, do we have any concept of what that is? Like what are their peaks right now? Because like the only way is to see a correlation with Steam charts, because I don't think Blizzard releases that information in like a chart form to say like all active players for this season, or like our peak for this season was blank. Because like this season in particular probably had a way higher peak player base than, let's say, the several seasons before because of the Paladin releasing. But yeah, like, so it's like hard to translate. Just because they have 3 million players, is that counting all the bot accounts? Is that counting regular, like, hardcore players, like serious players that have multiple accounts? Is that counting someone just like opening up Blizzard Launcher and updating their game? And that's like where these numbers get super confusing. Like when people say, like Highguard just said, we had 3 million people coming into our game, or that played our game, or we had 3 million players, or whatever is what they said. They're shutting down their studio. The game is going offline in like 2 days. So obviously, however they were calculating numbers doesn't actually matter because they didn't have enough to keep the game going. So a lot of that stuff can be pretty tricky. I guarantee you casual players do not look up builds. Interesting. Because I can't imagine playing a game like this and not looking up a build. Like D4 is way more casual friendly, but it's still a miserable experience. If I only have, like, especially if I only have a short amount of time when I'm playing a game, I want to play it efficiently. I don't want to just wander around and, but like you could 100% be right. I just am speaking from like other games that I've played as more of a casual player. I still like, but I also I'm not a good comparison because I have like a pretty obsessive personality, so I have a hard time doing anything casually. I get like super into things for a short amount of time, except for like the few things that I stay engaged with over a long period of time. Oh, I didn't know he still gave you these after. Oh, that's cool. Hell yeah. Not too bad. I don't think I saw anything in there that was like crazy 3 or 4 GA or something, but and even all the other shit that dropped is pretty bad. So I guess it didn't really make a difference that I never even knew he dropped us a bunch of stuff. Yeah, well, the High Guard went from 3 million to 5K in 6 days. Well, but that's the thing, is it's like any of those games, like that's been one of the funniest things, is that, you know, like with how so many games come out now and there's like a cultural aspect to it. So it becomes part of like the cultural wars, at least in America. But when that happens, there's all these people on both sides of it that are using these numbers that there's no way to verify to either make their point or fight against the other person's point. So it's like, that's what I see all the time, is these games that come out that are like culturally involved in some way or another. Because it could be something as small as like, here's a perfect example. The Ghost of Yokai, or what was that? The new Ghost of Tsushima game? That game. Because it had like a female lead and, you know, the actress, like there was like some just controversy, social controversy around it. But when that game released, people were like using the numbers both ways, like, oh, look at how much worse it's doing than Ghost of Tsushima. But then the company itself was like, this game has hit 8 million players like weeks before Ghost of Tsushima did. And so, but it's like, what is that 8 million players to you? Like, is that 8 million people and like, you know, versus like playing a game or buying a game, and then they'll release like sales like data, but not like actual sales data, you know, where it's like 1 million people bought the game, but it's like, okay, well, show us that. Or hell yeah, 1 million people bought the game. That's insane. Same. According to Steam achievements, 12.7 players have earned the achievement for 10 Whisper caches collected. Think about that. Yeah, but that's why I'm saying I think there's just less people playing the game than you think there are. Like, let's say there's 5 million people that have ever either purchased D4 or opened the game or whatever. I think every season there's less than 1 million people playing the game. Like, consistently. Like, playing the game versus like opening the game on season release and then never playing it again. So that's why I think there's like a more definitive line between casual and like hardcore players, because I just think ARPGs in general, the audience, like PoE 2 was insane because it kind of like broke that barrier initially of like, you know, they had a huge initial player base, especially even on Steam alone, because I think they hit like over 250K or something, and that's not considering all the people that use the GGG launcher to play the game. So But with this, I don't think that, like, I'm thinking like, I don't know, maybe 500,000 people are like play the game at least a decent amount for throughout a season. Got to think about Joe Schmo sitting on his sofa after a day's of work. That's a casual player, dad gamer. Yeah. But that's what, yeah. So if that's the level, then I would say if that's who we're considering a casual player, then the casual player is probably like 50% of the people who are playing the game through a season. Because I don't think there's that many players that you can have 1 million of those people and the amount of people we have playing the game that you would not consider casual, just based on all the numbers that we can actually see. But I don't know. I just like talking about this stuff. I don't really actually care or have like a serious opinion about it. It's just fun to think about and to get other people's opinions. So 1 million people bought Vessel of Hatred expansion. I feel like the state of the game over the last 6 months is so much better than during Vessel of Hatred and the excitement. Yeah, see, and that's the thing, is that was when I stopped playing the game, essentially. Vessel of Hatred came out and season 6 sucked ass, let's be honest. And then season 7, they didn't make really any changes, at least from what I remember. They didn't make any changes that it was like all of a sudden, oh my god, like I need to go back to the game. And I kept playing from like half of season 7, and then when they released the roadmap, they were like, hey, we have a roadmap, and everything on the roadmap was like, next season, new seasonal powers, and the season after that, new seasonal powers, and the season after that, new seasonal powers. And by the way, we're not releasing another extension for over a year from then. And so I was like, dude, they're just like, I feel like they were blatantly trying to kill the game. That's what it felt like from my perspective. But since coming back, at some point, and I don't know if there's a correlation, but it sure seems like one, when did Rod Ferguson leave the company? Because whenever that happened, it seems like the game has been getting a lot better. Even if it has been semi-recently and they've been making good changes, like, it feels like him not being the guy has made a big difference for this game. What was I doing? Oh, I guess I'll just put these away because we're gonna get so much shit from the world boss. $1 million copies on Steam alone. So you'd have to assume that the current player base is at least Vessel of Hatred numbers. Yeah, but like, that's the same thing as like using copies sold, how that translates to people playing the game. It's like a hard to get real information on that. Because you could have 5 million people who buy a game and it, like, you know, is a dead game, essentially. But like, because they made enough money from that, they can keep it going for a while because they convinced 5 million people to buy it. Like, I'm trying to think of a modern example of that happening, where there was a game that was like super hyped and a bunch of people bought it and then it ended up just kind of sucking. Because like with Highguard, it was a free-to-play game, so you have to convince people more than just that initial hype to keep playing your game. But like, yeah, I can't think off the top of my head. Ashes of Creation is a great example. Yeah, that one's, but like that, I don't know about that one. That one's like a edge case. Like that is exactly what happened, but like there's nothing to do with like the player base for the reason why that game failed. That had to do with just mismanagement. I guess the player base is to blame because they believed in what the management was telling them, but can't forget about Bobby leaving Blizz. Yeah, that could have made a difference too. I don't know how much influence he had over like D4 specifically, but you have to make an educated opinion based on something. Well, and that's where I say it's like dangerous, especially with these giant companies, because if they don't have to really show you any proof of what they're selling, like if they can't, and I get that there's like levels to like, okay, you're deceiving investors, so you have to give at least like a roundabout close to whatever you're actually doing for it to be legal. But Ashes of Creation is a perfect example of how you can manipulate all that shit so that you still get more money from investors, and then you're moving money, you're buying your house with money that was supposed to be going towards investment in the game, like all this stuff that they can do. And when you're part of a giant company like Blizzard, they can just like attribute other parts of Microsoft making money to you making money to prove to the investors that it is what you say it is. So it's like, yeah, but like that, I get what you're saying, because you do have to decide somewhere. It's just there can be a lot of manipulation behind the scenes. But with how little I hear about D4 in the grand gaming space, because I don't just focus on like content only. I watch a lot of like, for instance, like someone like Moist Critical, or someone like Legendary Games, or like Asmongold, like these guys that talk about like just gaming in general, and like you never hear them talking about D4, which means that I just think the number is lower than like the concurrent player base is lower than like 1 to 3 million. I think it's way closer to probably like 500,000. And that's just my opinion. Hey, when the update, I Googled, and for some reason I have either 8 hours from now or 20 hours. It's way closer to 20 hours, Indica. There is a timer on the Blizzard launcher. So it's 32 hours from now is what the timer says right now. 32 hours and 2 minutes. But yeah, it's definitely not 8 hours. I guess they don't have it like based on region, right? It's not like when it, because I know with certain games it's like based on region. So if you're in like people would use a VPN and say that they're in New Zealand so that they could play a game like 12 hours before other people. But I don't think D4 works like that. At least it wasn't 800 million. Yeah, dude. Concord. But like, that's what I'm saying is those games, because like I was gonna use Concord as an example, but they didn't ever have a lot of sales. Like people didn't have faith in that game from the first time they saw gameplay footage of it. So it was like, but a lot of the games that have flopped in similar ways have been free-to-play games. So you can't really use the same comparison. Having hype ongoing gives devs time to plan follow-up. Well, then it's a question if they can do it. Yeah. Well, and that was the thing with Highguard, is it was like, what would have been the ultimate slam dunk is for that game to come out and they just like, it's like a super fun game, you know, kind of like Arc Raiders, like where it just comes out and people are just like, holy shit, this is the best game ever. But it came out and everything that people were judging the game for, because like visually, if your game doesn't meet some kind of arbitrary visual appeal, if you have a game that is super fun to play, people will get over the visual appeal. But like, they just didn't hit the mark, or at least didn't hit the mark well enough to fight against the already negative opinion people had from the hype. And I like having that, like the spot on the Game Awards, the like premiere spot, and they didn't even have to pay for it. It meant that even because the game looked bad, meant that people were hoping that it was bad, because they were like, why didn't they give that spot to someone, to a game that actually looks great, or like a more indie style game that couldn't afford to put their game out there. And so like I think that was another thing that led to their ultimate demise. But then like, you know, within a week of launch, they had one of their devs for the game come out and say that like, we don't care what player numbers are, we don't care about players' opinions or something. Like they just kept like shooting themselves in the foot, where they still like, at a certain point, you see where like the lines are going and you're like, okay, we're gonna really have to work hard to like salvage this. And nobody has faith in us, you know what I mean? But instead they just went the complete opposite direction. We're like, well, fuck the players, they don't matter. Like, it's all a bunch of YouTubers. That's the only reason why there's bad publicity behind our game. And so, yeah, they just made a lot of mistakes. Sick, I didn't know Blizzard has a timer on the launcher. Yes, they do. What game is this? Or company? So the game we're talking about is High Guard. It's a game that just recently came out. It's only been out for like a month, I think. But it was from the people, like some of the devs that made Apex Legends and made Titanfall, which are two like pretty well beloved games in the gaming world, especially in like FPS gaming. They came together and made their own studio to make this new game, but it's essentially another like Marvel Rivals or Overwatch, but with just like a couple new mechanics. But like the new mechanics don't justify a game in a super oversaturated market that already has been losing like relevance over time. I guess Marvel Rivals not so much, but like one of the things Marvel Rivals had built in is that it's Marvel characters. So you're selling Marvel characters as much as you are selling like gameplay. At least to start, and then people got in there and they were like, oh, the gameplay is actually good, the dev team is listening to us and making balance changes and whatever. But like, you had a huge IP to go off of to at least get the initial hype around your game. Whereas if you're making a new game and you don't have that, you got to work really hard to make that end up working out. Is there a button I can press to like make these things, you know, like when things fade on your screen? What are you supposed to press so that they like show up again? Or is that not a thing in this game? I swear to God, it used to be a thing. Oh, you just have to walk away and then come back? Okay. Because I remember someone telling me that you just have to like drop ones in your inventory and they won't disappear. Because last time, all the ones I didn't pick up just disappeared instantly. Then...
Look. Look. Look.
Who's this guy saying look to? Why are you saying look at me? Okay. Now let's see if they stay. I also keep forgetting to spend my obols. You can press Alt. Oh, is that what it is? But that's probably what I need. That's probably the button I'm looking for. They just release half-baked products and expect people to like it. Their games usually feel rushed and hollow. Dude, I agree 100%, Brosif. Like, most games are like that nowadays, which is really frustrating because, like, the fact that you think about Diablo 2, when that game came out, you just bought it. You know, back in the day when we were growing up, you just bought a game. They didn't have a constant connection. If the game was completely like there was like game breaking bugs in it or whatever, you had to make sure your game was ready. And now it's like, okay, we can release a game that's 50% of the way done. Like even with D4 is a perfect example where this game came out and they had no idea what direction they were trying to go in or what they were trying to accomplish, what type of game they even wanted it to be. And then it took them like several seasons, and some people might argue even to this day that they're still in the process of figuring out. Like they're doing a big skill tree change, which is, you know, kind of an example of them not really knowing, or at least at a point they didn't know, because like, you know, so there's a lot of that nowadays. I can run off the edge and drop the pad ones. Or you can change a setting, I think in the gameplay, that makes loot always stay on screen. Then alt will toggle loot off, then press again. Oh, okay, maybe that's what I need to do. I would say sometimes games need time to cook. You can expect a masterpiece on release
My
at this.
God! Okay, it's happening.
You can't.
Everybody stay calm.
Yes.
Everybody stay calm.
Morgan,
Stay calm.
welcome in.
Calm down.
Thank you for the raid. How was your stream? What are you playing tonight? Okay, which ones? I don't need over reserves. I'm so ready for Wednesday, dude. I am so ready. But yeah, I get what you're saying, Brosif, because like, but like for instance, Red Dead Redemption 2, Elden Ring, it still exists. That isn't that long ago. You know what I mean? Those, now here's the counter argument though. Those games took like 10 years to make. So, you know, Baldur's Gate 3, yeah, that's another one. I didn't love that game, but I recognize how impressive what they did was. I'm just not a turn-based guy, so. Oh yeah, Gar, I'm ready as well. Wait, did you both say that? Or I thought Morgan said that, but hell yeah, Gar. Sorry. What's up, Gar? Let me do a shout out real quick. Boom. Everyone in here from Cliptus's stream. If you don't know yet, there's this amazing person. She's one of my like IRL closest friends. I love her to death. Morgan, she streams as well. Please go drop her a follow. She's a really awesome chick, playing games, having a good time. She's gonna be playing season launch with me, and then I think we're gonna have a new player in our squad as well, someone who hasn't ever played D4. Beef on the mic, who was in here earlier, who raided us earlier. Dude, that's our third raid. I just realized that, but it should be fun, and I'm gonna go ham in the paint. Same, gonna go till I pass out. Good, play D2R and WoW. I don't think, there's no way it'll suck. I just, like, I'm not like, nothing about the seasonal stuff sounded super interesting to me because I didn't experience that in D3. But like, as long as they don't ruin anything like build wise, which I don't think they're doing a bunch of like balance type stuff, then I'll be happy. Like, I'm just playing the game to, you know, start at the beginning of the season and try to accomplish some things that I want to get done next season before we have all the big shit coming in the expansion. Okay, I have wasted a bunch of time. Those might already be gone now because I did take so much time, but we're just gonna try to drop all this shit off. I just need to start destroying. I don't know how people dealt with this throughout the season. If you got your Asmodon leveled up early, and you can't really know how to do this complex games in one go, and there's always... Wait, it didn't work. Or wait, it did work. Okay, it did work. Sick. Improvements can be done and new things come up after you have... Yeah, and there's like a balance between it. You get what I mean? Like Arc Raiders is a game that I've seen more like quote unquote game breaking exploits than I have in any other game that's like that. That's like a shooter game. And some of them have been problems for a long time before they get it fixed. But because the base game was good enough, even with those other like polish issues, it didn't matter. So it's like, I don't think the expectation is to have a perfect game with no you know, no issues whatsoever. It's just release a game that's at least good enough to keep people excited and entertained. Because the problem we have now is people just coming out with games that aren't only half-assed, but they're just like, the concept is not a good part. Like they're not connected with like what the audience is looking for. And they've been so stuck in like this cycle of like not listening to their player base that they just think, oh, we know what's best. He confirmed tonight? Hell yeah. Sure, you're gonna check it out? Okay, my friend, I hate to run it. No, you're good, Morgan. Much love. Once again, always a pleasure. And I will see you, I'll probably see you tomorrow, but for sure on Wednesday. They need to stack them, yeah. Well, you know, now that the seasonal blessings will be gone, people will probably be scrounging for sigils. Wait, I haven't heard if this has been confirmed or not. Are prankster sigils, are they keeping those in the game? Or is that going away with the new season? I still haven't found one, but like, you know, they're obviously insane. And I'd love to find one. Dude, most of these I probably not even gonna do. They take so much time. Now, if I was like super low on Obdicite or something, like if I really needed it, then I probably would run them, but just taking up a shit ton of space right now. See you on Wednesday, Gar. Hell yeah. Also, anyone follow Gar as well? He's one of the homies. Here, let me, I was in the middle of that. I'd already put the shout out part down. I just hadn't clicked your name. He's one of the homies, and I think he's gonna be playing with us on Wednesday as well. Give him a follow. Hell yeah. I heard yes. Okay. I destroy everything that isn't Treasure Breach or Mythic Prankster. That's probably what I should do, but I started so late that I'm like, over the last couple weeks, I've started to figure out which are the ones, because initially I was just keeping all of the rare ones with the rare affixes. And then I had people tell me most of those aren't even worth keeping. And so then it turned into, okay, here's like 4 of them that you should keep. And now I think I'm even going past that. Like, I think 4 is too many. But like that, I probably don't need. Most of these. Okay. But yeah, I guess there isn't really a way when you have unique affixes to have them stack and unique dungeons. But like, you could have like all your rare ones, rare affixes stack. I don't know how they would make that work. Because I was like, they can stack all these other ones, but it's because they're the exact same. So, I don't know. I don't know how you do it. They just needed to figure something out, though. Like I said, I don't think next season it's going to really be a problem.
May your road be filled with wonders.
Pranksters are permanent. Okay, hell yeah. They need to keep pranksters for us free-to-play players because I don't want to buy DLC for all the best farming methods. Hell yeah. Dude, I bought the DLC, the new expansion finally. Like, I held off for a couple weeks because I was like, I'm not just going to buy it as soon as I start playing the game again. But like, then eventually I was like, screw it, I'll do it. And, but I still haven't interacted with any of, like, I still haven't made a paladin or anything yet, but I probably will when the new season starts. Just not that I necessarily want to play paladin. Like, I love paladin, but I also, you know, I have that thing where it's like you don't want to do the thing that everyone's doing just because everyone's doing it. But I need to play paladin so that I can give people advice when they come in and ask questions about Paladin. Unless you are someone like Hideo Kojima, you don't have a chance to hit platinum on launch. That needs genius on design side. Also, one demanding that no compromise on quality is done and having staff. Yeah, I agree with that, Garden. And the other thing is if you're making an online, like a big multiplayer game, there's just bound to be more issues than there is if you're making, like, because every example I gave, Elden Ring, I guess Baldur's Gate is a good example of like an online multiplayer where they did a really good job at launch. But for the most part, all those other games aren't really like online games, where there tend to be a lot more problems that can pop up if you have a large world that's got a bunch of people interacting with each other, you know? And the same thing with Hideo, I don't know how you pronounce his name, Kojima. Is all of his games are like single player games, aren't they? Treasure Breach is for all the materials like the Obdicite Gold, then Mythic. The Hidden Armory is horrible. I did too, and realized why farm rare items here when I can do anything else for legendary gear. Oh, okay. Yeah, doesn't it just have one resplendent chest in the treasure room? Just picks a random dungeon on use. That would be cool. Yeah, that would be an easy way to create a solution. Because, like, how many people are using them just to farm? Like, yeah, to farm like powers of codex shit or whatever, codex of power, whatever. I guess the only time occasionally people use them to farm like whispers, but then you just get like a random chance of hitting a whisper dungeon occasionally. I think it would be better. It'd be way better for like player convenience, even if it pissed some people off. Okay, let's just go wander around Helltides for a bit. I mean, yeah, you're good. Having a merc in runes is huge. Are you being serious or sarcastic? Paladin is the best build right now and will be next season, but like I'm a Sorc or rogue player anyway. Yeah. See, and I've always been a fan of like casters in general in these types of games, because that's like more in line with like the power fantasy in my head. And it doesn't hurt that in this game Sorc is actually, you know, she's kind of bad. We'll take that. And here's another thing I will say about D4 where I'll give them a lot of credit. Their microtransaction, like their gear sets and shit are so much better than Path of Exile 2's by like an insane amount. Cause like when I came back, I started looking through like the store and looking at shit. Cause for a while I didn't play any ARPGs, but before that I was playing Path of Exile 2 and not playing D4 at all. And so like I was comparing a lot of things to what I remember from Path of Exile 2, and I was like, holy shit, I forgot how much better the cosmetics are in this game. I'm not sure, but the Harad Director or something is hordes. It's good for Obdicite, but Treasure Breach has so much goblins, it's like 7 times better than the Herodic thing. Okay. Now he's being serious. The companion dude and runes are a lot better than using regular gems like me. Okay. See, and that's the thing is I feel like my companion doesn't really do much for me, but I guess it could just be because you don't realize how much they're doing. You know what I mean? And then as far as runes go, I just like, I guess part of why I am not a big fan of the rune system is because my only comparison was Diablo 2 and Diablo 2 Resurrected. And so like when they said they were bringing in rune words, everyone thought it was going to be like that. And we're like, all of a sudden everything is going to change because like most of everything that's like the best in Diablo 2 is rune words. But so the way they implemented it, I think it was actually good for the game because it would have just made a bunch of uniques and mythics irrelevant if they would have done it like Diablo 2. But and then like I said, I hated the change for crafting mythics. I hated that. I wish they would just go back to being able to use 4 resplendent sparks to craft your mythics. But I think they needed to find another way to make runes valuable. Because, like, the rune words by themselves, I don't think were a big enough selling point. Maybe even just for, like, getting more sales out of the Vessel of Hatred. Naughty 4 is really good on that. Lots of different stuff to do. If bored, go pit. Oh, well, that's the other thing too. And the way that they've changed that you can like farm, even let's say there's always the most efficient way to farm whatever you're looking for. But now that you can like get materials from doing other activities. So it's like you can get obdicite from doing other things, and you can get you can farm glyphs from doing other things. Like if you just get bored of doing the same thing over and over again. And I think it's going to be even better with the expansion with warpaths, because I think that's going to allow you to customize it even more. But I, you know, from the little clip I saw in their video, I don't really, it's hard for me to know how big a difference it's going to make. And like, because I remember watching Rax's video talking about that, and he was like, he was pretty upset that that was like the only end game type thing that they announced. But I think part of it is also because like a lot of the end game activities now are connected to like the seasonal stuff as well. So it's not like, you know, now this upcoming season, we don't have any like real end game activities, but like they're not adding a new type of dungeon or something, but now you have the bloodied sigils and the blood-stained sigils or whatever that are gonna be essentially like a new endgame activity. And then you have a new layer boss, the butcher layer boss. So yeah, I don't know. But Rax is kind of just like anti-D4 lately, so it is where it is. I understand it. They give damage buffs and they can save you from death. Yeah. I guess like maybe just the way I play the game, at least on this build, is like I don't have it where I press a certain ability and it spawns my guy to come in and give me protection. I just have it so he spawns it whenever. So it doesn't really like keep me alive, so to speak. Maybe every once in 20 or 100 times that it happens, it just randomly happens at a time that I'm about to die. But for the most part, and that's a me problem, that's not the Merc problem. But with this build, I'm just like, it's a lot of button mashing because you're kind of just pushing things as soon as they're off cooldown. So it's hard to time out when you would have him spawn. Also, I don't think there's a, where's the Duriel? She's over there? Where do these guys come from? Cosmetics are good, but I'm not a cosmetic heavy player. I just enjoy the PoE gameplay loop better, but PoE 2 is boring, not enough content, which is why PoE 1 is fun because it's just a ton of things to farm. There's something for everyone. Yeah, and I think it's just like different strokes for different folks. Because I never really got into PoE 1, but one thing I'll say that about those games is like, I had a hard time, because I have a hard time playing any game as like a quote unquote casual. but that game requires so much to actually like feel like you're keeping up. If you're not just playing as a super casual, and because I have a hard time playing games as a casual, I can't even imagine playing that game as a casual. So that was what ended up being my biggest thing. But I also like playing, like, I like being able to play other games too. And like, even when I was playing that game, like, I don't even know how much time I was spending at one point. There's a point in time where I was like, I don't even know, like probably 10 hours a day, because it would be like 8 hours on stream and I would play a little bit off stream too. And I still felt like I was always behind and not getting the shit that like everybody, a bunch of other people in my stream would already have, or other people in my guild would get, and I was just like, dude, what the fuck? So having bad RNG inherently, and then playing a game that is so RNG, like it's meant to be like super bad RNG, made it just really miserable for me to try to make that my main game. They give damage. Oh, I already read that one. I'm glad Treasure Breach exists because I hate Nightmare Dungeons and Infernal Hordes. They just get super boring. I'm glad T5 will exist because T4 is too easy after, let's say, 10 to 15 hours. Yeah. Until they truly release it. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people are kind of on that boat. Like, it'll be interesting to see because, like, every time, and that's what's hard for me, is that, like, I don't hate PoE 2. I think it's a really great game. Like, I will never be one of those people that just because I'm not playing it anymore, I'm like, oh, well, fuck that game. But every time they would like add a bunch of things to the game and I'd be like, oh, that actually sounds pretty solid. But it's like, yeah, I understand now why there were people who were like, I'm just gonna wait till full release. I didn't get it when I was playing the game. I was like, why not just like enjoy the ride? But now it makes a lot more sense, especially if you didn't buy the game, like if you didn't already pay to play it. Philip North. Hey Rick, sup my guy? Stay frosty. Dude, thank you so much. Good to see you, brother. Hell yeah. I have to go out of town in the morning, need a few hours of sleep. I'll see you tomorrow night. Love your face. Dark, much love, brother. Be safe. Be safe driving or flying or whatever you're doing. Always a pleasure. All the things, you know. I do have 1,500 hours in PoE 2 and 300 in PoE 1 I started. I'm the same way, Indica. I played PoE 1 for like a very short amount of time and I just didn't enjoy it. Like when I was kind of like in between not knowing what to do with, cause like I was kind of like, wait, when was that? I don't know when I initially first played it, but I mainly started with PoE 2 and I have like 1,400 hours in PoE 2 and then I probably have like 20 or 30 hours in PoE 1. Less, maybe. Not much. Main way around RNG and farming divs is early game crafting, honestly. Breach mechanic. Well, and that was the other thing is like, yeah, that was one of the problems is there wasn't enough crafting. So it's like, unless you got drops for a long time in PoE 2, you just were fucked. And that's when I was playing the most, is back when there was like zero crafting mechanics and you just had to like hope that you know, got something insane on a corruption or that you just got the raw drops for the items you were looking for. I don't know the breach mechanic from PoE 1. You get a breach, kill in the zone like normal, but you charge a bar, then either fight a bunch of rares at start or boss spawns, make it feel more interactive. Yeah, and I think all that stuff is slowly coming to PoE 2. Because like you've already seen things that they said they weren't gonna add to the game that like fans were asking for from PoE 1. They're like, there's no way this game is meant to be slower, this game is meant to be this and that. And then I think here's a good thing about GGG is they actually listen to the players and they're like, okay, players just want, like, they want the same vibe as PoE 1, but just with like with some new shit as well. Because initially they were really trying to make it like a super slow experience. Where like, it's just like a tedious grind to even just like fight through the early stages of campaign and shit. Now they've started like increasing mobility and increasing or like decreasing difficulty of certain things. But my biggest pitfall will always be, and this will never change, so it's like, it's hard for me to imagine myself going back and playing the game seriously again, is not having to play campaign over and over again. I just got so sick of doing that, and I can't even imagine someone who has 5,000 or 10,000 hours playing those games. But it's just like, I feel like we've evolved past that in gaming. Like there's certain things from the way games used to be made that like, they deserve to stay in games forever. But I feel like we've evolved past that in games, forcing you to just like play really whatever content every single time you want to make a new character. It's not even just like, I would almost be okay with it if it was like, okay, you had to do it at least once every new league, but the fact you have to do it with every single character, nope, I'm good on that. I am good on that. PoE 1 crafting is so deterministic, yet PoE 2 is ass. I don't get it. ARPG and slow don't go in the same sentence, right? You still have to play campaign in PoE 1. I don't think, yeah, like I said, I don't think they'll ever change it. But if they did, I would probably play it again. Like, I don't know if I would just like keep grinding it like I was back then, but I would for sure give it another shot. Whereas right now, and I said the same thing about D4. So mind you, but they did fulfill one of my requirements to coming back to D4. My primary requirement was as soon as I can play Frozen Orb as my main ability skill and like play the content in the game, like I'm not trying to push the highest pits or anything. I just wanted to use Frozen Orb as my primary ability, damage dealing ability, and be able to play the game and do like majority of the stuff in the game. And they did that. But they also made a bunch of other really good changes that I just wasn't familiar with until I started playing again. But yeah, with PoE, it's kind of the same way where like, hey, if they make the campaign thing better, then I'll go back and see and maybe get sucked back in. But I just hate doing that more than anything else. Even if they just made it like way more efficient for someone to rush you through campaign or like some system. But right now, the way it's set up, I just will never, I can't do that again. What's up? When the new season release? The new season releases in 31 hours. 31 hours and 25 minutes. If you open the launcher, there's a little ticker that tells you exactly. So if you want to keep track, just open Battle.net. I guess that's if you're a Battle.net player. I started playing before they even had it on Steam initially, so. That one might be. Okay, I need to go spend my Helltide currency, and then I think I'm gonna try to. I have a bunch of items that I want to try to roll and see if I can get Sinks on them while we still have a chance. So hopefully they change campaign to be a bit shorter. Yeah, and I get some people were just like super excited that they released like different acts to the campaign, but like in a game, in these types of games, let me preface this statement by saying this. The only kind of games I care about, like the story really, is games like Red Dead Redemption and Elden Ring, which are like, they're my top 2 for best games ever made. So my comparison for stories is like, it's such a steep climb for people for like games, but that's like, those are the types of games where I'm okay and I like enjoy. I'm playing it for the story, because I think personally Red Dead Redemption 2 has the best story maybe of any piece of like entertainment ever. That game is just so goated. The story is just amazing, and like even if I play it to this day as a grown man, I will say I will cry. I will cry. I'm okay with it. It will happen, and I skip the end a lot of the time if I replay it, because I know myself well enough. But that's insane, because there's not that many types of media that exist that have that same effect on me, period. So, but some people love like the lore and stories of games. I just don't play an ARPG for that. I play an ARPG to like do the grind, to get to end game and start farming for what I want to do, and doing all those activities. Russian campaign is still like 6 hours or something. Like, how can you get PoE 1? That fastest player is like 2 to 3 hours. That's actually insane. I didn't know it was that fast in PoE 1. Dude, I love how I just like joined this at the very last second. I keep forgetting I need to spend my obols too. We still have 60 minutes. I have plenty of time. Diablo 4. See, and that's the thing, is I did pay attention to the campaign of Diablo 2, but like I said, like it's different because that game I grew up with. It's nostalgic, so playing the campaign every time, but there were ways to like cheese the campaign so you could get G-rush through it and complete it in like an hour. But like, so I'm okay with it if it's an old game, but with a new game, it's just harder for me to be like okay with it, because like I said, I feel like we have evolved past it, and they learned that with this game, and I'm kind of surprised that they didn't add something in PoE 2 to make it like that, so you could do that. For me, I can get PoE 1 to like 7 to 8 hours, but the veterans are like 3 to 4 hours. Yeah, that's nuts. But the fact that it's possible is, you know, and that's the best of the best in comparison to just a regular player who isn't spending all their time speedrunning the game. So yeah, I think that feels more reasonable, like for someone like me, because I also just, I get distracted. I like talking to chat. I like wandering and not really like staying completely locked in and being the most efficient. But like, I also just get super bored playing the PoE 2 campaign. Like the last couple seasons of PoE 2, I've gone back with full intention to at least get a character to end game, and this last league with the Druid release, I made it to Act 2 before I just got bored of the game and stopped. And then with the season before that, I think I almost got to maps before I was just over it. But like, if I could just go and play maps, I probably would have played the shit out of, especially the Druid season, because I was kind of excited for Druid. PoE 2 campaign is very boring. Yeah, it's very boring and very unrewarding too. I think that's part of what makes it super like annoying to me, is that it wouldn't feel as tedious if you actually got decent loot from fighting through the campaign. Like, just like have guaranteed loot drops, because like what difference does it make to just like be like, okay, we're gonna guarantee you something, or let you pick items when you kill a boss or something, so you can, like, if you're playing a specific build, you have 5 options of rare pieces of gear that can drop, and you get a, like, okay, this one is at least an improvement over what I'm using. Do something like that and it might actually make it feel not as shitty, because that's my biggest problem playing through it, is like, not only is it just like boring to do the same thing over again and time consuming, whatever, but it's like I also don't get any improvements ever. So I'm like, it makes it go even slower than it just inherently goes because of the length and the way it's set up. Okay, I'm gonna go in Helltides. I'm gonna get I need to open like 2 more chests, and then I'm gonna go use the restroom, and then we're gonna sanctify. PoE 2, at least you can get Exalted to craft. PoE 1, Exalted is the same as Div, but without the value. It's 50-50 whether you get Exalted or Div. Yeah, but the thing is that, I don't know. I ran into, you don't get enough Exalted, and there's other things, like other materials you need, like crafting mats, I feel like, that you need, that you don't get enough of before you want to use your Exalted. But then, like, a lot of people are like, well, that's why you just take all your Exalteds, because you can get improvements right off the, like, for only 1 Exalted, you can get a piece of gear that's like a huge improvement if you trade. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to trade. Especially not at the very beginning of a season. Like, I don't want to go and spend a bunch of time making offers to people that are never gonna fulfill the offers, and then they're never gonna respond, and then, you know, you have to do that 10 times before you finally get someone who actually answers, and then at that point you've been on the trade website for 2 hours wasting your time for a 1 Exalt item. And sometimes it works out better and it's quick, and as soon as you offer, and I haven't tried with the new trade system either, with like putting your gear and so it automatically gets transferred. I'm still talking about back when you had to meet up with every single person you were buying shit from. So I hope the new system is better, but there was just like a lot of that where I'm like, if I don't want to trade, I shouldn't have to, just to feel like I can actually progress through campaign, which I also don't want to be playing. So it's just like tiers of annoyance, essentially. Okay, there's another chest. Yeah, back then that was, dude, it was so miserable. I swear to God. Oh, it's a gobblegoo. I do like that they've added more goblins that just like randomly spawn too. I hope that's not just like a seasonal thing. Now it's just a store. You turn off the messaging people part on the trade site and you can just click on go to hideout. Yeah. Yeah, see, and I think I did a couple, like 1 or 2 trades with the new system. But like when I think of trading, I just imagine how it was back then. And I was literally spending over 10 hours a day on the game. And I was also spending like extra hours outside the game trading and inside the game where I wasn't actually just playing the game. Like I would say probably 40% of my time in game was